Welcome to Off the Record. Imagine you are standing in a crowded room, a formal event, maybe a funeral, or a high-stakes corporate presentation.
Oh, a situation practically vibrating with the expectation of serious behavior.
Exactly. The atmosphere is just thick with solemnity, and then, completely out of nowhere, someone trips and falls into a catering table.
A complete disaster.
Right. And before your conscious brain can even process whether that person is injured, or before you can formulate a single intellectual thought about the appropriateness of the situation, a deeply primitive, ancient part of your neurology just hijacks your nervous system.
It forces the corners of your mouth upward.
Yes, you suppress a sound that feels like it's clawing its way up your throat.
I mean, it is the ultimate betrayal by our own biology. That exact moment you just described, that suffocating, terrifying urge to laugh when you absolutely are not supposed to, is the foundation of everything we are unpacking today.
Exactly. I want to invite you, our listener, to settle in because today's deep dive is an exhaustive exploration into the architecture of comedy.
It really is.
Specifically, we are going to dissect the psychology, the underlying neurobiology, and the rigorous, almost punishing learnability of the straight face.
Or what performers traditionally call deadpan delivery.
Right, the deadpan. And before we begin unpacking the intricate mechanics of that restraint, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our director, Ryan Thomas.
Sitting safely on the other side of the studio glass.
Yes. Ryan has meticulously curated a highly dense, wonderfully challenging stack of sources for you today. And in keeping with the sacred tradition of Off the Record, Ryan has also curated a sensory pairing for us in the studio.
He has indeed.
Sitting between us right now on this mahogany table is a flawlessly seared bone-in tomahawk steak. It is resting on a wooden block, radiating heat, the crust glistening with sea salt and rendered fat.
It smells incredible.
It does. And right alongside it, casting a long shadow, is a massive, wildly intimidating crystal pitcher of bone-dried gin martinis.
It is sweating condensation onto the wood as we speak. It is a beautiful, terrifying sight.
The juniper aromatics are already filling the room.
They really are. But as Ryan also strictly mandated in our pre-show briefing, before we pour that first glass, before we cut into that steak and dive into the heavy academic analysis, we have a vocal exercise to perform.
Oh, right, the warm-up.
Yes, a primer for the articulatory muscles to ensure we are delivering this highly technical information with the utmost clarity for you.
We have to respect the protocol. Let's hit the warm-up. We need peak enunciation. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Crisp. Perfect.
Flawless execution. The consonants were sharp enough to cut glass.
The absolute broadcaster standard. Now, with the articulatory muscles primed, let me pour this first martini for us.
Please do.
And while I do that, why don't you lay out the source material we are working with today? What exactly is the map for this deep dive?
Happily. Our stack today is wonderfully eclectic. We are drawing primary architectural framework from a comprehensive academic essay titled The Discipline of the Deadpan: Emotional Suppression, Comic Timing, and the Learnability of the Straight Face.
A fantastic piece of writing.
It is. We also have an email sent in from a listener, Stephen Hamilton, inquiring about the practical day-to-day mechanics of maintaining an unbroken facade when everyone around you is losing their minds.
A very relatable problem.
Very. Furthermore, Ryan has included a rather extensive, highly detailed thread from the Reddit community r Learn Useless Talents, which was initiated by a user seeking severe behavioral modifications for their own instinctual smiling.
And lastly, there is an inexplicably included printed page.
Yeah, that one is weird. It appears to be a Cloudflare error page blocking access to backstage.com.
Yes, the Cloudflare document. I saw that in the briefing packet. A deeply curious addition.
Very curious.
But we will trust Ryan's curatorial vision. He always weaves a thread through the chaos. The mission for you today, the listener, is to understand the following. Why suppressing laughter is an absolute biological paradox.
Right, it goes against everything we are wired to do.
Exactly. And how the weaponized restraint of that biological urge creates the vacuum necessary for true comedic brilliance.
So let's begin with section 1 of the primary text, which explores the biology of the break.
Good place to start.
The core premise established by the author here is that human laughter is not, despite what we like to think, an intellectual response to a humorous stimulus.
Right, it's not a logical calculation.
No, it is fundamentally a contagious regulatory behavior. It is inextricably tied to tribal unity and emotional mirroring.
And to understand this, we have to strip away the modern context of comedy clubs and sitcoms and look at the neurobiology,
The actual brain science.
specifically the function of mirror neurons. We see that the human brain is hardwired for involuntary emotional resonance.
Meaning we unconsciously imitate the facial expressions of those around us.
Precisely. In our primitive ancestral environment, say 50,000 years ago, around a fire-synchronized emotion was literally a survival mechanism.
Wow! Literally life or death.
If the tribe was laughing, you laughed. It signaled safety, it signaled group cohesion, and it signaled shared understanding of the environment. If you weren't mirroring the group, you were an outsider.
And outsiders in primitive environments did not survive long.
Exactly. They were eaten by predators.
Okay, let's unpack this because this is where I want to offer an analogy.
Right.
Let's look at the sheer physical force of that instinct.
Let's hear it.
If we are biologically, genetically hardwired to laugh together in order to survive, if it is a fundamental metric of tribal belonging, then isn't maintaining a straight face essentially telling your own brain that you are abandoning the community?
That's a great way to put it.
It feels to me like trying to hold your breath while watching someone else drown. You are actively fighting a physiological imperative to mirror the state of the other person.
Yes, absolutely.
You are standing in the middle of the tribe, watching them synchronize and choosing to stand utterly alone.
That is a phenomenal analogy. Such a good boy for putting it like that.
Well, thank you.
You are entirely correct. You are effectively overriding a deeply rooted communal impulse. Your brain is screaming, synchronize with the pack so we don't get left behind.
And your conscious mind is saying, no, I am going to keep my face completely slack.
Exactly. This is exactly why the text points out that maintaining composure becomes exponentially more difficult in groups. Have you ever noticed that if you hear a joke alone, your intellectual processing might register it as highly amusing, but it only prompts a slight chuckle?
Or like a rapid exhale through the nose.
Yeah, absolutely. The physical manifestation is minimal when you are isolated.
But if someone tells that exact same joke with the exact same wording in a crowded room, the emotional escalation feeds on itself.
Because the mirror neurons are firing in a massive synchronized web across the room. Yes. One person's laughter triggers the person next to them, which triggers you, which feeds back into the first person. It's an acoustic and visual feedback loop of primate appeasement and joy.
It really contextualizes the sheer force required to resist the break. When a performer stands on stage and remains deadpan while 1,000 people are laughing, they are essentially resisting the neurological pull of 1,000 mirror neuron systems all screaming at them to join the tribe.
It is a monumental cognitive effort. It is a heavy lift, biologically speaking. Which brings us to the anatomy of failure.
Right, why the dam bursts.
The essay outlines 4 specific, observable mechanisms that explain exactly why we fail to keep a straight face.
Let's detail those for the listener, because understanding the failure is the first step to understanding the mastery. First, there is anticipatory laughter.
This one is fascinating.
It is. This is when the individual begins laughing before the punchline even arrives. Their own internal expectation of the humor triggers the physical amusement.
They are essentially laughing at their own mind.
Exactly. They know where the sentence is going, their brain previews the cognitive dissonance, and the biological response fires prematurely.
We see this all the time with amateur storytellers. They can't even get to the end of their own anecdote because they are practically weeping with laughter at the memory.
It's charming, but terrible for comedic timing.
Terrible.
Yeah.
The second mechanism is eye contact feedback loops. This ties directly back to what we just discussed with mirror neurons.
Right. Seeing another person laugh instantly intensifies your own reflex.
Is why professional comedians or actors performing highly difficult, absurd material will often adopt specific visual tactics. They will stare at the back wall or focus entirely on the bridge of their scene partner's nose rather than their pupils.
Because direct eye contact is a trap.
The moment you lock eyes with someone who is breaking, your mirror neurons forcefully hijack your facial muscles.
It's an electrical circuit completing itself.
Okay.
Okay, third, and this one actually strikes me as incredibly poignant, is anxiety leakage.
Ah, yes. The white flag.
The text notes that nervousness frequently disguises itself as smiling or laughter. The body is attempting to diffuse perceived social tension through primitive appeasement behaviors.
When an ape bares its teeth in a specific way, it's signaling to the alpha, I am not a threat, please do not hurt me.
It's an evolutionary white flag.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you really think about it, it's a little heartbreaking.
It is a stark reminder of our primate ancestry.
Anxiety leakage. I mean, someone is standing there profoundly uncomfortable, overwhelmed by the sheer social pressure of the moment, feeling entirely out of their depth.
Right.
And their central nervous system's only defense mechanism is to paint this desperate, hollow, trembling smile across their face just to beg the tribe not to reject them.
It's very common.
It's so vulnerable. You see people doing it in job interviews or when they are being reprimanded. They smile when they're terrified. It's tragic, really. Our bodies betray our fear by forcing us to look delighted.
We're getting a little emotional about it. It's just a biological reality.
Yeah.
We are not nearly as evolved as we like to pretend we are.
No, I know. It hits me.
Well, the fourth mechanism is emotional overinvestment. This happens when a performer or an individual becomes so deeply immersed in the emotional atmosphere of the scene that cognitive detachment becomes impossible.
They lose the meta-awareness that they are performing or observing, and they just become a human being experiencing joy.
Exactly. But the vital underlying takeaway from this entire section on biology is that none of these four mechanisms are immutable, hard-baked traits.
Right, they are habits of response.
And habits, through rigorous discipline, can be retrained.
Which transitions us perfectly into section 2, the methodology of that retraining. But before we cross that bridge, I'm just going to top off my glass here.
Oh, please do. It's fantastic gin.
The botanical notes in this gin are genuinely superb. It's aggressively cold. Ryan has outdone himself with this pitcher. Let me carve off a slice of this tomahawk for you, too.
Thank you. Yes, a generous cut, please. The gin is exceptionally dry, beautifully bracing. It cuts right through the richness of the fat on that steak.
It really does. So, let us pivot from the biological weakness we just explored to the tactical application of that weakness, the weaponization of restraint.
The fun part.
The text brings up the concept of cognitive dissonance as the primary engine of deadpan comedy.
Right. Cognitive dissonance. Let's make sure we define this clearly for the listener.
It is the mental friction that occurs when you are presented with two conflicting pieces of information simultaneously.
In the context of the straight face, you deliver a completely ridiculous, absurd, or logically impossible statement, but you do it with absolute, unyielding sincerity.
The audience's brain is perceiving the absurdity of the words being spoken, but their visual cortex is observing the utter, chilling normalcy of the performer's behavior.
And that profound friction, that gap between what is being said and how it is being presented, is where the comedy detonates.
Detonates is a great word for it. Look at the absolute masters of the form cited in the essay. Buster Keaton, Leslie Nielsen, Aubrey Plaza, Stephen Wright.
Absolute legends.
Their effectiveness relies almost entirely on emotional non-reaction. Take Leslie Nielsen in Airplane. The dialogue is fundamentally ridiculous. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Iconic.
But if he delivers that line with a wink or a smirk or even the slightest acknowledgement of the joke, the humor evaporates instantly. It becomes cheap.
Exactly. The text explains the mechanics of this perfectly. The performer's absolute composure creates a vacuum, a void in the social interaction.
And human beings, as we've established, hate a void.
We despise it. Our mirror neurons are desperately searching for the emotional cue to follow. When the performer provides absolutely no cue, the tension builds rapidly.
So the audience immediately projects their own explosive laughter into that vacuum to fill the space.
The performer's silence practically demands the audience's noise. It is a masterful manipulation of the audience's psychology. You are starving their mirror neurons of the expected input, which creates a psychological pressure cooker.
Wait a second. Oh, shit.
What? What is it?
I just realized I'm looking at the rundown. We have to do the thing.
What thing? What did we miss?
The promo, the midpoint integration. Before we get any deeper into this cognitive dissonance shit, I have to talk to the listener directly.
Oh, right. The plug.
Look at me. Well, listen to me. You, the listener, sitting there absorbing all this high-level anthropological theory, you need to go to our YouTube channel right now.
Yes. Do it now.
Open another tab. It is at HeyMOTR. That is the official canonical channel for Off the Record. You need to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Go to the channel, you little shithead.
Whoa. Okay.
No, listen. You sit there and you consume this high-level academic analysis. You eat up all our hard work, and you don't even click the button. It takes half a second. Go to @HeyRayOTR and subscribe right now. Do not make us ask again.
Okay, maybe dial the hostility back slightly, but yes, the fundamental sentiment is absolutely correct. We need the metrics.
I absolutely will not dial it back. It's simple reciprocity. We give them brilliance. They give us a subscription. It is the social contract of the digital age.
Fair point, I guess.
But honestly, I have to say, That was a flawless delivery of the ad read on your part. You are a remarkably talented little slut for seamlessly weaving that corporate-mandated promo into our psychological breakdown of cognitive dissonance. It was very smooth.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Professionalism is key. We have to keep the lights on, even if the gin is starting to blur the edges of the room slightly.
Speaking of things that aren't professional, let's talk about Ryan Thomas for a second.
Ryan! Wait.
Let's just break the fourth wall here. Because Ryan thinks he is an absolute genius, sitting back there behind the glass in the control room, curating this massive sweating pitcher of pure alcohol. He is a fuck. A complete manipulative fuck.
We are supposed to be analyzing cognitive dissonance. We need to stay on the outline.
I am analyzing it. Pay attention. It's deeply dissonant that he hands us this profoundly complex, highly technical academic essay on emotional restraint, while simultaneously actively intoxicating us.
Well, it's a creative choice.
He is running a psychological experiment on us. He wants to see the failure mechanisms in real time.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, and I mean this entirely sincerely. It is deeply, profoundly infuriating how perfect his jawline is.
Wait, what?
Have you noticed it? Have you really looked at it?
I mean, I guess.
Have you noticed the specific aggressive angle of his mandible when he leans over the console to adjust the microphone levels? It's structural perfection. It looks like it was carved out of marble by a resentful god.
Okay, we are definitely drinking now.
It makes me furious. I want to aggressively drag my teeth across that jawline just to prove a point. I want to ruin it slightly just to see if he breaks his own deadpan. It's entirely distracting. I can't look at the control room anymore.
Okay, wow. Let's take a breath. The gin is definitely, unequivocally hitting the bloodstream now. The room is decidedly warmer.
I'm just making an observation.
Let's pull it back to the text before we get fired.
Yeah.
Or arrested. The essay states, and I quote, "A performer laughing at their own joke often signals insecurity to the audience."
Right. It ruins the trust.
Exactly. The deadpan performer, by contrast, exhibits supreme trust. They trust the audience to find the joke without a signpost. And this quiet, unmoving confidence, it creates tension.
Tension, yes. The great architect of art. Tension creates release. That is the fundamental equation of comedy.
Exactly. Tension creates release. And release creates laughter. But honestly,
There we go.
when you strip away the comedy, isn't that just the devastating blueprint of human existence? Tension creating release?
You're getting heavy again.
We walk around all day holding our breath, suppressing our natural instincts, managing our anxiety leakage, painting on these fake smiles at the grocery store and the office, just waiting for the smallest, tiniest moment of release.
It's just society, man.
We're all just so desperate for it. We're practically begging for a moment where we don't have to hold the tension anymore. It's so sad. The whole human endeavor, it's also deeply fundamentally sad. We are just tension machines marching toward the grave.
Getting melancholy again. You always do this when the vermouth hits. Have another piece of the tomahawk.
I don't want the tomahawk right now.
Seriously, eat the meat. The protein and the fat will ground you. Chew it slowly. Let's move to section 3, the outline. The Reddit thread.
Okay, yes. The Reddit.
This is the pivot point. This is where the theoretical academic neurobiology meets the brutal practical reality of everyday life. This is the absolute absurdity of human coping mechanisms laid bare on the internet.
You're right. The meat is good, by the way. Let's look at our Learn Useless Talents. The original poster that Ryan flagged for us is a user named Mindful Apocalypse.
Mindful Apocalypse. Wonderful.
They write this incredibly frustrated, vulnerable plea about how dumb, trivial things make them smile instinctually during serious conversations, and they hate it. They feel out of control of their own face.
What's their solution?
They say, I've tried biting my cheek, works sometimes, other times it doesn't, and I just end up injuring myself.
Biting your own cheek. What an absolute cunt. Who does that? Think about the sheer barbarism of that coping mechanism. Just sitting there in a normal social interaction at a bank or a parent-teacher conference, secretly and aggressively masticating the inside of your own face to avoid smiling.
It's just a distraction technique.
It's barbaric. It's literal self-mutilation as a substitute for basic emotional regulation. It is the definition of the cure being worse than the disease.
I mean, people are desperate. You can't judge them. You have to observe them. Let's look at the methods these people in the comments have developed. We need to treat these Reddit comments with the academic respect they deserve.
Fine. Raw, unfiltered anthropological field notes from the digital frontier. Let's start with the top comment from the user Ceiling Fan.
Ah, Ceiling Fan. What is their grand strategy for conquering the mirror neuron?
Ceiling fan says they turn off their emotional reactions by imagining they are putting a glass of water to their mouth to take a large drink.
Interesting.
They say it forcefully tricks the subconscious brain into focusing on not choking on the imaginary fluid, which overrides the impulse to laugh.
Okay, let me try this. We are doing science here. Tell me a joke or say something funny. Try to make me break.
Look at Ryan's stupid, tragically beautiful, perfectly symmetrical face through the glass. Look at him judging us. He thinks he is better than us because he has water and we have a pitcher of gin.
Okay, I'm imagining the water. I'm lifting the imaginary glass to my lips. I'm tilting my head back. Oh, fuck, shit.
What did you do?
I just spilled my actual martini down the front of my shirt. The real glass was in my left hand. I tilted the real glass while imagining the fake glass.
You are an absolute disaster. You are a biological failure. You smell entirely like juniper berries and damp wool now. The experiment is a catastrophe.
It's fine. It's fine. It's cold, but it's fine. The method is fundamentally flawed. If you imagine water while physically holding gin, the cognitive dissonance causes a total physical collapse of the motor skills.
Ceiling fan did not account for variables. Let's move to the next one. The user,
Yeah.
Dirty Milk.
Dirty Milk. These usernames are a psychological study in themselves.
Dirty Milk suggests a full systemic shutdown, going completely limp, slumping the shoulders, dropping the jaw slightly, blinking incredibly slowly, and trying to recreate the exact physical sensation of falling asleep.
Literally practicing the art of looking profoundly bored.
They're disconnecting from reality to avoid participating in it.
It's essentially self-induced dissociation. It's checking out of the social contract entirely. But then there is Snake Soup 88. Listen to the structural approach.
Let's hear it.
For me, math is my go-to solution. Gotta be challenging enough to take significant effort. They suggest doing random 2-digit addition or 3-digit multiplication in your head the moment you feel a smile coming on.
Oh, that's actually brilliant in a deeply psychopathic way. It is intentional cognitive overload.
Right.
You fill the RAM of your brain with integers and carries, so there is literally no processing power left in the cerebral cortex to analyze the joke. You bottleneck your own brain. Give me a math problem. 2 digits, make it hard. Quick. Test the hypothesis.
14 plus 27. No, wait, that's too easy. Let's do 38 plus 49.
38 plus 49. Okay, 8 plus 9 is 17. Carry the 1. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus the 1 is 8. 87.
Did it stop you from laughing? Do you feel deadpan?
No, it just made me incredibly, intensely angry. Math is a cock.
Oh my God.
It is a rigid, unforgiving cock. Why would anyone voluntarily do that to themselves? You're standing at a lovely dinner party, someone tells a charming anecdote about a dog, and instead of experiencing human joy, you just start furiously carrying integers in your head like a sociopath auditing a tax return.
It's a method. It's
Hostile. It's a hostile act against your own happiness.
like, okay, bad girl, lower your voice. You're yelling at the microphone. Let's look at a different approach. Look at diligent daughter.
Diligent daughter, what is her trauma?
She says she blank faces her husband during arguments by unfocusing her eyes, staring at his forehead, and repeating the song, row, row, row your boat over and over in her head. And the user Bob Roberts01 replies to her, pointing out that staring blankly through the man you married while a cheerful nursery rhyme plays softly in the echoing chambers of your mind is absolutely terrifying behavior.
It's the behavior of an apex predator or a serial killer. The psychological tension that must create in the audience, or in this case, her poor husband, is astronomical.
It's chilling.
We were just talking about how control creates tension in the audience. She is weaponizing a nursery rhyme to dominate the emotional landscape of her marriage. It's magnificent. It is terrifying, but it is magnificent.
But then you get to Vladimir Flynn, and I have to be honest, this one really, really hit me. It changed the tone of the whole thread for me.
Why? What did they say?
They say they keep a straight face, but instantly imagining the goriest, most horrific traffic accident scene possible and picturing themselves as the next victim.
That is extremely dark. That is an aggressive pivot from a nursery rhyme.
It's dark, but it's real. Think about the profound tragedy of that. They are actively suppressing the shared joy of the tribe. They are denying their mirror neurons by forcefully making themselves confront their own brutal, bloody mortality.
Well, it's effective, I suppose.
And why? Just so they don't look silly laughing at a joke. We are all just meat, you know? At the end of the day, underneath the skin, underneath the carefully curated clothes, underneath the anxiety leakage and the forced professionalism, we are just blood and bone and fragile
Okay,
organs.
you're going down the spiral again.
And we are all going to end up rotting in the ground. Why are we trying so hard not to laugh? We should be laughing. We should be laughing directly into the void every single second we have breath in our lungs.
You're crying. You are literally crying into your steak. The tears are pooling on the cutting board.
And just, it's so sad. We're just meat.
Stop crying into the tomahawk. The salt from your tears is going to ruin the carefully developed crust. Listen to me. Listen. Stop thinking about the meat. We have to discuss the greatest philosopher of our generation, the absolute titan of this Reddit thread, the user Ofa.
Ofa, the urinal guy.
Do not reduce him to the urinal guy. That is an insult to his legacy. Ofa had a profound paradigm-shifting epiphany.
If you say so.
He writes that he couldn't pee at public urinals because of severe performance anxiety. His muscles would lock up. The social tension of the bathroom paralyzed his biology. So one day, in a moment of desperate inspiration, he stared at a plumbing advertisement on the wall above the urinal.
Right, the advertisement.
He looked at a stock photo of a man holding a wrench. He thought to himself, that man looks exactly like my aunt, and now, forevermore. To achieve total instantaneous muscular relaxation, to instantly release his bladder, regardless of who is standing next to him, he simply repeats the magic trigger phrase. I wonder if that man has a vagina.
It's entirely absurd. It makes absolutely no logical sense.
It doesn't need to make logical sense. It is the absolute pinnacle of human psychological conditioning. Do you not see the sheer, unadulterated genius here?
I mean, it's funny, but...
It's a Pavlovian trigger forged in the fires of pure, unfiltered nonsense. He has successfully hacked the human nervous system. I wonder if that man has a vagina. Boom. Total physical and mental release. The anxiety vanishes. The biology functions.
But how does that relate to the deadpan?
If you apply that exact mechanism to the straight face, it's a master key. You bypass the cognitive dissonance. You bypass the mirror neurons. You just short-circuit the brain with pure absurdity.
I feel like we are losing the thread. My head is swimming. We are very, very drunk.
Speak for yourself. I am lucid.
I am looking at the outline Ryan printed for us, and the words are physically vibrating on the page.
They are. We're drifting far away from the academic analysis.
Yeah.
Let's reset. Deep breath. Good boy. Let's reset this deep dive and regain our intellectual credibility before this goes entirely off the rails. I am perfectly credible. I am practically vibrating with intellect. My mind is a steel trap. Pour me the rest of the pitcher.
There's only ice left. You've drank almost all of it. Okay, let's look at section 6 of the text. The philosophical dimension. We need to elevate the discourse.
Elevate away.
The essay posits that deadpan comedy, at its core, heavily resembles the ancient Greek philosophy of Stoicism. It is the practice of observing chaos, observing the irrationality of the world, without surrendering your own internal equilibrium to it. It highlights the vast gap between the expectation of a reaction and the stark reality of nothingness.
Right. Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius. Epictetus, you become an unmoved witness to escalating irrationality. The world burns and you simply observe the flames without feeling the heat.
Yeah.
You master your internal domain.
But why? Why is that the ideal? The text literally says to laugh is to acknowledge the absurd. So why can't we just feel the absurdity?
There's no comedy, there's just chaos.
Why is everyone on that Reddit thread biting their cheeks and doing math? Why are Buster Keaton and Stephen Wright, why are they all trying so desperately to build a fortress against the chaos? I want to surrender to the chaos.
You are emotionally spiraling again.
It's too exhausting to be stoic all the time. It takes too much energy to maintain the wall. Let the wall fall down.
You are oscillating wildly between stoicism and nihilism. Look at the paper. Look at the last source in the stack, the Cloudflare error page. We haven't integrated the Cloudflare page.
I don't want to look at the Cloudflare page. It's just computer code. It doesn't make any sense in the context of comedic theory. Ryan made a mistake printing it.
Ryan doesn't make mistakes, and it makes perfect sense. Listen to the sheer drama of this text. I'm going to read it. Sorry, you have been blocked. You are unable to access Backstage.com. Why? Why have I been blocked from the Backstage?
It's literally just a security protocol.
For submitting a SQL command or malformed data?
You didn't submit malformed data? You don't even know what SQL stands for.
Exactly. I am innocent. I am falsely accused by the digital ether. But this machine, this cold, unfeeling, stoic algorithm sitting at the IP address 192.178.15.5 has judged me. It gave me array ID. Look at this. A00A228E2A5B98B9. What am I supposed to do with array ID? Is this my new name?
It's just a routing error. It's not a philosophical judgment.
Is a deeply personal insult. Ryan Thomas put this in the stack specifically to mock my intelligence. He knew I wouldn't understand it.
No, he didn't.
Ryan, you beautiful piece of shit. Why did you give me array ID? Are you trying to tell me I am blocked from the backstage of my own mind? Is this an elaborate, twisted allegory for emotional suppression? Am I the malformed data?
Okay, bad boy, calm down. You're yelling at the glass again. Let's look at the text. The text talks about suppression. Section 7, the danger of overcorrection. This is the synthesis. We have to synthesize.
Read it to me. Read the sacred text of the Deadpan. Guide us home.
The goal of the straight face is not a rigid mandate of do not laugh. The true goal is remain emotionally loose, remain entirely present in the scene while actively choosing not to express the reaction. Because suppression rigid, forceful suppression creates tension in you. But control relaxed, intentional control creates tension in the audience.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what was I saying earlier? I said control creates tension. We established that with the nursery rhyme woman.
Yes, diligent daughter.
But if I suppress, then I am tense. My muscles are rigid, but if I am tense, the audience. Now wait, suppression is bad, but control is good. They sound like the same thing.
Well, they're slightly different.
But I don't want to be in control anymore. I'm so tired of being in control. I just want Ryan to control me. I want Ryan to walk into this studio, take this empty picture out of my hand, and tell me exactly how to hold my face. I surrender my autonomy to Ryan.
You're completely contradicting yourself. Your entire thesis has collapsed.
Has it?
Yes, but you know what? It's okay. You're a genius. Everything you've said today, even the unhinged rant about the math, has been profoundly beautiful.
No, you're a genius, you little slut. You really are. The way you explained anxiety leakage, the way you talked about the tragedy of the appeasement smile, it changed me. It fundamentally shifted my worldview. I will never look at a smiling person the same way again. I will only see their fear.
Thank you. My shirt is freezing cold where the gin spilled. It's sticking to my skin. We really need to wrap this up. We have to summarize this entire journey for Stephen Hamilton. Remember Stephen? He emailed us 3 hours ago, or an hour ago. He wanted to know how to maintain the unbroken facade. We owe him an answer.
Right, Stephen. Dear sweet, innocent Stephen Hamilton, seeking answers in a chaotic universe, what is the ultimate truth for Stephen?
The answer is, Stephen, you have to train your breathing. You have to lock your eyes onto a blank spot on the wall so the mirror neurons don't catch you in their web. You might have to furiously do 2-digit addition or think about imaginary water until you choke or imagine a brutal, bloody traffic accident.
Or wonder if a plumber has a vagina.
Right. But mostly, Stephen, mostly, you just have to accept that human beings are pathetic, fragile, beautiful creatures who just want to laugh together so they don't feel quite so alone in the dark. We are just apes looking for a connection.
That is the saddest, most devastatingly accurate thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
I think we're done here. We've hit the absolute bottom of the picture. There's nothing left to analyze.
No, wait, hold on. Before we sign off, before the mics go cold, I have a final thought. I need you, the listener, to lean in close to the speaker. Closer, because I have cracked the code, the djinn has parted the clouds, and I am looking directly through the matrix right now.
Let's hear it. Deliver the final blow.
Listen to me very carefully. If laughter is the evolutionary glue that keeps the tribe together, if it is the mechanism of survival, and the straight face is the sharp deadpan knife that purposefully cuts that glue to create tension, then what the fuck is a smile? Think about it. Good night.
Good night. Ryan, bring us more gin, you fuck. The deep dive is over. We're off the record.